Hello and welcome to the Baggies podcast YouTube channel. Now, I suppose this isn't a sort of video that I expected to make, and not one that I expected to. I'm sure not one that you expected me to make. However, this is just my honest assessment of West Bromwich Albion versus Sheffield United. I'm sure you're all aware. This is just an immediate post-match reaction. I've actually had a bit of a few minutes to sort of recollect my thoughts about what exactly went on out there today. It's not scripted. It's not got any notes towards it. In fact, I'll just, I've actually this evening, if things went well, I plan to go and record a video on Ainsley Maitland-Niles and the sort of things he could bring to West Brom, but that will have to wait for tomorrow. This is just something that's just going to have to be done, I'm afraid. It's sort of a post-mortem of what happened out there today and my thoughts on it, and a general assessment of what's been happening at the club, really. Out there tonight, the performance was unacceptable. Team didn't try particularly hard and were outfought by a Sheffield United team who, as it still stands, are the only team lower than us in the division. Now you look at that and you think, how? Surely they've made up ground on us, but they've happened to have drawn one less game than us, and that means they're still at the bottom, even though we've got that woeful goal difference. It was a travesty out there to watch the players go out there and be outfought, outwitted, outperformed by a Sheffield United team who have been battling at the bottom as well as us all season. You talked about the Fulham game, massive 6-pointer. You talked about Sheffield United game, massive 6-pointer. We've come out with 1 point out of those potential 6. It's pretty damning. You don't really know what to say about it, do you? Because what can you do as an Albion fan? You can just sit and watch, and the tactics out there weren't right today. I know Big Sam's got his way. I know that these new signings are coming in, Yokoslu, Maitland-Niles, but they're coming in too late. It's not enough. Well, it might be. Might have been enough, be it a few months ago, a few weeks ago, even before the Fulham game, before the I can't remember what game it was before the Fulham game, but yeah, Man City game. So before that. You probably might not have got something out of Man City, but before the Fulham game, if they'd come in, maybe made a difference, maybe managed to secure those 3 points and see the game out. Before today, even, still would have been good. It's great to see Diagne playing. Not much you can say about the performance from him today because, he barely saw the ball, to be honest. In that first half, he saw the ball a few times. Obviously, missed a bit of a missed opportunity, which luckily Phillips tapped in, but. The players who weren't available today, Yokoslu and Ainsley Maitland-Niles, you must be sitting at home going, I can't believe what I've just walked into. At least they're only on loan. They can go back. I mean, Maitland-Niles probably has no intention of joining permanently. Yokoslu only if we stay up, which at the moment is looking very, very unlikely. This, as I said, this isn't a video that I particularly wanted to make. I was planning on talking about all the good things about Ainsley Maitland-Niles. But yeah, here's what sort of went wrong out there today. I mean, you tried to absorb pressure early. You started the game actually, firstly, quite well. First 15 minutes, sort of went out there and tried to create a few chances, tried to nick an early goal in order to find yourself in a better position for the rest of the game. But then you sort of started to, Sheffield United started to feel their way into the game. They started to get more of the ball. They started to see more opportunities to take the ball forward. They started to see more opportunities to exploit our leaky defence. But in the first half, we stood strong defensively. I did have to. I said this whilst I was watching it. I said that defence looks a lot better so far. That defence looks much more improved. Looks a bit more organised. And then you get to just before half time, and Phillips scores. A ball in from Robinson is saved by the goalkeeper. Comes back to Diagne. Probably should score. Probably should have put his foot through it, but instead it's a good save by Ramsdale, to be fair, but pushes it straight out to Phillips, who ends up putting the ball in the back of the net. So you nick the goal just before half time. You change the dynamic of the game because obviously Sheffield United were on top before that, and you've changed that sort of dynamic of the game, and you've changed the sort of half-time team talks for the managers almost. It's a completely different ball game after that. However, then you go out second half, and then you change your dynamic as West Brom. You've been trying to nick the goal. You've got the goal, and then you just completely sit back, and that's obviously Allardyce is doing. Nobody else has told the players to do that, but then everybody sits back. Everybody starts to defend, and that's when you start absorbing pressure. And they scored through Jaden Bogle, and then went on to put the killer blow in through Billy Sharp. I think the major tactical mistake was sitting back after that first goal. I think you still need to carry on playing Sheffield United. Remember who they are. Remember they're the only team worse than you in the divisions, statistically and points wise. Really, they're the only team worse than you. So you've got to go and you've still got to go out and play a game of football against them. You can't just play like you do against Man City, Liverpool, and just defend for the rest of the game. That's not really how it works. Like with a team like that. Yeah, Sheffield United are a better team than us. It's pretty obvious to see. There's no two ways about it. Sheffield United are a better team than us. It's annoying to have to say that as an Albion fan. I do have to say it's not nice to say that. It's not nice to talk about that. It's not nice to sort of analyse that. It's not nice to admit it as well, that you're the worst team in the league, but you are at the moment. There's no team worse than you. Allardyce, you'll see on. I thought about doing a midweek podcast, but I think that's out the window. Yeah, I don't think there's quite enough to talk about there, especially as I'm doing this now. But there'll be one on Sunday, and it includes Nick Miller from The Athletic, who's just done a series of podcasts on Sam Allardyce, and he's talking about the character of Sam Allardyce. And I spoke to him yesterday on Monday, so that'll be an interesting one for you to listen to about the character of him. And I did ask him the question at the end: will Sam Allardyce walk if this becomes untenable? So you'll find out his answer to that, and obviously you might find out the answer to that if Allardyce does end up walking beforehand. But yeah, make sure you go and watch that, because it does provide an interesting insight into the character of him. But one of the things I learned is that he won't change his style for anyone. You buy into Allardyce, the club. Allardyce doesn't buy into your club. Your club buys into Allardyce. You give him what he wants. You give him the transfers you want. You give him the support he wants. You give him the backing that you want, and you buy into him in order to give him that. I don't know what it is, but that platform to build his game and to build his style. But yeah, I think the two transfers, I think it shows a bit of poor planning, especially with Jokoslu. Or maybe not Ainsley Maitland-Niles, but Jokoslu, maybe even Diagne. Because if Diagne was fit enough to play the whole game again, if Diagne was brought in before the Fulham game, he might have played the whole thing. And you saw the impact he had when he came on against Fulham. But in terms of Jokoslu, you put that bid in. You could have put that bid in earlier. You could have sorted out things earlier. You could have had his medical earlier. And he could have played tonight. Could have played against Fulham if he'd got things completely right. Maitland-Niles is a bit of a different story, because he's obviously been deciding where he wants to go, been deciding what he wants to do with his career, of course, because he's had other offers, which I'm sure he'd much rather take, and I'm sure he wishes he had now. Arsenal, they probably wanted him to go to a better team, but nobody really in for him apart from Leicester, Southampton, who they see as rivals, and then Newcastle, who chose Joe Willock instead. So yeah, I think it shows a bit of poor planning from the club. The club is really a mess from top to bottom. The board don't want to invest; they're looking to sell. But surely to sell a Premier League club is better to sell than a Championship club. And at the moment, you're going to be selling a Championship club in about 6 months' time, and there's nothing you can do about that now. Transfer window's gone. You've had your chance to put your money in. Now all that rests is that faith in the manager and the players, and I don't think that the fans have got any faith in the manager or the players anymore, and that upsets me to say as an Albion fan. I always want to be positive. If you listen to my podcast, you'll know how positive I am about the club. Well, not the club in general, but about the team, the performances. I look forward to these sorts of games where you look like you might get something out of it, but they let everybody down. I mean, you had pundits and reporters saying what a great transfer window you've had, and you have had a really good transfer window. But people saying, wouldn't it be best to rebuild for the future? No, I reckon you should have had you should be still looking to have a good crack at staying up, do the best you can, damage limitation even if that becomes the case. But at the moment we look down and out, and you know what this will mean. It will come to a you think about Tottenham and you think about the drubbing we might get on Sunday, but they'll come out with a great performance. It just typical of Albion, when you don't need one really against Tottenham, and you needed one tonight. They'll come out with a great performance on Sunday. It's just typical Albion, really. But yeah, it really does hurt me to say that I think we're down. I know it's annoying. I know I want to be positive, but I think it's too far gone now. Missed a huge opportunity, and I think Sheffield United, they're on the up, whereas we're on the down. Like, Sheffield United have started picking up results, and they're starting to get a run together. Before tonight, the great escape could happen. You could still beat Sheffield United today, and go out there and take on a great performance, and go out there and carry on and create a run like Sheffield United are probably going to go and do now, and probably overtake us, and they deserve to, because they were better tonight, and they're certainly a better team. Look streets ahead of us. But yeah, I think there's lots of problems at the club, and I think they need to be addressed. But tonight was a real showing of just how bad things have got, really. And I'm not sure whether Allardyce will resign, but it certainly could be a possibility. But again, that podcast is going to be available on Sunday. I talked to Nick Miller, who wrote and conducted interviews with a series of people who knew Allardyce very well, and created a podcast for The Athletic all about Sam Allardyce. It's the making of Big Sam. So if you want to go and listen to that, that's going to be out on Sunday. If you haven't listened to the recent podcast already with Marc-Antoine Fortuné, make sure you go and do that. There's going to be a link in the description, or just click on the YouTube channel or Spotify, whatever you want to do. But yeah, that's the post-match thoughts, immediate post-match thoughts. I say immediate, it's been about an hour and a half since the game's finished, but had to give myself a time to recollect my thoughts, because after that full-time whistle, when I was incredibly upset, as I'm sure a lot of you guys were, not in the mood to think about football, not in the mood to talk about it whatsoever. But the damning fact is, I'm just going to leave you with this: West Brom have the worst defensive record in Europe's top 5 leagues this season, with 50 goals conceded. 48% of those goals have come in Sam Allardyce's 8 league games in charge. I don't think the blame lies at anyone in particular's door, whether it's Allardyce, the players, but I do in that respect. But I do think it lies at the board's door. I think the club's a mess from top to bottom. But that's the end of this post-match thoughts, and my Twitter will be in the description at the Baggies Pod if you fancy a discussion, or just fancy a chat about anything. Always here to talk with all the Baggies fans, and of course plenty of other podcasts available on YouTube if you want to go and listen, and plenty of the videos on the way. But I'll see you next time here on the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. See you later. Bye bye.